In an ambitious move to expand computational support for AI, Microsoft's rumored Stargate project is set to become an entire cloud region dedicated to supporting large language model training in partnership with OpenAI. As reported by Timothy Prickett Morgan, this initiative is not merely about constructing another AI supercomputer, but involves building a sprawling network of data centers, potentially housing up to 1 million XPU computational devices. This bold step reflects the industry's attempt to overcome power and capacity roadblocks to deliver ever growing demand for computational resources to support AI. Will Stargate allow Microsoft to transcend the limitations of space and time, or will the Goa'uld sweep in and try to take over, Stephen?
Well, I don't want to speculate on that last bit there, Tom. I think that's maybe beyond my pay grade. But I will say that it's interesting that this is the rumored. Again, let's just take it all clear. This is all based on rumored and talk and chatter and so on. But I will say that it's interesting that they chose this name. We've been talking about this on our Utilizing AI podcast for quite a while. And of course, in Futurum Intelligence, they've been doing a lot of surveys of the AI market. And one of the challenges for next generation AI model development is that we've gotten to the point now. The AI processors themselves are incredibly powerful, but they draw a lot of power. So we've talked, of course, that you've got limitations in terms of how much power you can have in a single rack. So the new NVIDIA announcements, for example, that we talked about in the last couple of weeks here on the rundown, you can have a 120 kilowatt rack, which is just unbelievable, beyond the capability of a lot of data centers. But what we haven't talked about, and what has been talked about quite a lot in the industry, is the fact that we're getting to the point where all of those racks of AI processors are too much for any one location to handle. In other words, they're going to be consuming so much power that it's not practical to power a data center that's big enough to run the next generation AI models in one location. In fact, we're hearing rumors that already much of the development of OpenAI's next generation models and the models of other similar companies are actually spanning multiple states, multiple locations, in order to have access to enough electricity in those locations. And they're using basically high performance networking, low latency, high bandwidth networking between these locations in order to try to put them together, kind of like a Stargate would in this fictional universe. So that's kind of what we're thinking this is all about. The idea that Microsoft would be building a region that may actually be multiple physical locations in order to access enough power to power something that could potentially draw as much, again, as rumors are to be believed, as 5 gigawatts of power just for one giant AI monster. I will remind you that is approximately 4 time-traveling DeLoreans worth of power, except continually instead of just for the moment that the lightning strikes. And that is quite a lot. Now, the article that we're linking to here, which is fantastic by our friend Timothy Prickett Morgan, talks a little bit about what that might entail. What is Microsoft going to be building that could take all this power and build all this out? The suspicion is that this would be based on Ultra Ethernet, which we've talked about. And if you check out Utilizing Tech, you'll see a great discussion with the head of the Ultra Ethernet Consortium recently. It would probably also leverage the Maya and Cobalt processors that Microsoft just introduced, rather than processors from NVIDIA, certainly, or companies like Intel and AMD. Because again, why wouldn't Microsoft use the latest and greatest processors that they themselves have developed? And it would probably be used by OpenAI and partially funded by OpenAI because, of course, Microsoft and OpenAI are partners, very close partners, almost purchased the company last year. So we can suspect that that's what this thing is going to be. Essentially, it's going to be a massive AI supercomputer that would draw literally, I mean, how much is 5 gigawatts? 5 gigawatts is, no kidding, 1/20th of all the solar power generated in the United States. It's like a small state worth of power, except just powering one AI compute cluster that may actually be in multiple locations. It's really incredible what they're talking about here. So we're going to be watching this closely. I think that you'll hear a lot more about Stargate on future episodes of the Rundown.